Alright, hello and welcome. If you're watching this video, you are most likely a high schooler who is trying to make their very first resume to gain an advantage towards employment, whether it be over the summer, whether it be a nighttime job, whatever it may be. I'm here to help you design your very first resume. A resume is a way to basically summarize who you are and what your experiences are in a way that allows you to basically talk about yourself in a way that your hiring person, recruiter, manager, whoever they are, can figure out exactly who you are on a professional level within like a minute. So we want to make sure that our resumes are neat, organized, and very easy to read. So the easiest way to do this, just to make a basic first-time resume, is we're going to go to Google Docs, which is where we are right now. And instead of us making a blank document, we could, but Google happens to have a template gallery. And if you click on that, that'll give you a list of everything that you can look at that will help kind of give you like a skeletal structure. So you can go through it and figure out exactly what you want to create. And it helps kind of guide the organization aspect. So somewhere on there, there will be a section for resumes. Now we got a bunch of them here. I'm a high school student, so I'm seeing these ones that have kind of like some side panels and stuff. It looks like they're going to be putting a lot of extra information in there, so maybe we don't want to do that. So instead, I'm going to choose this resume here. This looks pretty nice for a high school student. It's called the Modern Writer Template. There may be more, there may be less, depending on what system you're using. But I'm going to click on it, and it's going to start creating the document for us. All right. Might take a second to get everything loaded up. It's basically copying a Google Doc, and it's giving you the entire, layout and everything that you have on here. All right. I'm going to change the zoom just a little bit so we can see it a little bit more clearly. And let's see exactly what this looks like from just a general standpoint. It looks like all of our contact information is here, and then your name. And it's really nice on a resume because when you first glance at it, you want to know who the person is. So this is a really nice, simple template, and if you need to make your own, that's completely fine as well. But I'm going to kind of take a shortcut and use this. So these details up here, obviously you want to fill them in with your own information. Your home address, your city, state, and zip code, and also your phone number. Make sure that it is a number that you can be reached at. If you put your house phone number and you're not there all the time, or you're expecting a call on your cell phone, it might be a situation where you want to put in your cell phone number. As for your email address, this might be a really good time to obtain a professional-looking email address. If your email address is fortnitegod696942xxx@yahoo.com, you are not going to give a good first impression. One suggestion that I have, either Yahoo, Gmail, whatever other, iCloud, whatever you want it to be, choose something that reflects your name. So I'm going to just make up an email address, but let's say that I wanted to use bfadouk123@gmail.com. That's not my email address. Don't try to send me emails on that. I don't know whose email address that is, but notice how it has my first initial, my last name. Numbers are okay as long as they don't reference something that could be interpreted incorrectly. There's a lot of different numbers out there that people will look at and say, oh, the maturity level in this person is not very great. If, for example, you were born on, I don't know, April 7th, 2005, right? If you do 4705, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? That's kind of talks about who you are and your identification. Maybe on a security level, you don't want people having your, date of birth, so maybe you could just put 05. You were born in 2005, whatever it is. Even 2005, but you can't just type any email address. You actually have to go and create that email address to be used as well. So just keep that in mind as well. Make sure that you have it, and also make sure it's an email address that you check. Because if you give them this professional-looking email address, they send you a request to meet for an interview, and you don't get that email because you don't check your email address every day or so. If it takes you a month to respond, they're going to find someone else for that position. So make sure that you can either set it up so that it will forward requests to your personal email, or you kind of just take the leap of faith and adopt this as your main email address. All right, for your name, I'm going to put in my name, and notice how this really stands out, right? It's big, it's giant text, it's underlined, It looks pretty nice, actually. All right. Below that, we have a bunch of different sections, right? Skills, experience, education, awards. You can move these however you like. So I'm actually going to start rewriting these a little bit. So I'm going to go to the next line. I'm going to type in for the first part, objective. And notice how it's heading 1, right? You want to make sure that you follow all of the same aspects for this. So I'm already noticing a difference here. Objective isn't capitalized, but skills is all in capital letters. So I need to go back and fix that, or else I'm not going to look like a consistent type of worker, all right? So the first thing, I like to do these on resumes, the objective. And the objective is basically, what is your purpose of this resume? To obtain employment during the summer of 2021, or whatever other year it is. This video might age well. It might be the year 2028, and this video is still relevant. So make sure that this follows your goal. To obtain employment during the summer of 2021, to gain valuable experience that will, and I'm kind of like just winging it in a way. I just want to have it like sound semi-professional. Benefit myself. Sounds fine. Actually, kind of looking at it, I'm not sure if I even love that phrasing. You can always go back. And sometimes in resumes, less is more. To obtain employment during the summer of 2021 to gain valuable experience. No dot. Looks fine, looks professional, kind of carries the weight of the resume, right? Like, hey, this is who I am, and this is why you have this piece of paper sitting in front of you. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to move the skills, because the skills are not the most important part on this. They're going to go down here, above the awards section. So I'm going to just copy and paste it, or cut and paste it. Now notice how this resume is going to the next line. We got to fix that at some point. We will. All right. So now, under the experience section, and I'm also going to go and backspace that a little bit, just to give myself a little bit more room to play with. This is assuming that we have worked at 3 different jobs. I don't think as a high schooler we have, and if we have, well, then that's impressive. So I'm going to get rid of a bunch of them. All right. So now, notice how there's like a color coding on here, like a nice pink color. You can change that. You can go in and change how the colors look. Just make sure that it is consistent with everything else. You can keep it as just black and white if you want. You can do pretty much whatever you want with this resume. I'm just going to kind of show you the process that I would do if I were in your position trying to make a resume for employment. So let's say under our experience, all right, company name, comma, location, dash, job title, all right? So let's say I worked at a company, Party City. Let's say that I worked at the location in Kingston, New York. And then job title, we're going to put in cashier, all right? Below that, they're asking for the month that you worked and the year. So let's say that I started in February 2020. Now you can leave it as present, that's fine. But if you stopped working there for whatever reason, and there's many reasons why you can stop working at a place, whether or not you got along with employees there, whether you found a different employment, whether or not you needed to focus on school, whatever the reason is, just make sure that you are talking about this accurately. Let's say I worked here until August 2020. So I've worked for, I don't know, 6 odd months. These bullet points now, this is a nice way for us to kind of explain what did we do at our job. We got to make it quick, we got to make it very easy to read, and we got to make it so that it doesn't write like Brian ran the cash register. That doesn't sound very good, right? We don't want to talk about ourselves in the third person. Operated, see I'm using some big words, cash register, interacted with customers. Notice how each item is kind of like a verb that kind of explains what we did. Operated cash register, interacted with customers, helped clean store during slow hours. All 3 of those things are a very nice explanation of what our experience could look like. Somebody looks at this and says, oh, cool, Brian knows how to operate a cash register, or at least he could learn pretty quickly. He knows how to talk to customers. That's super important. And he even helps cleaning the store during the slow hours. That's great. That sounds like a great type of employee I would like to hire. All right, now let's say you didn't work at something like this. Well, in your experience section, you can remove the whole thing if you want. Will it always be the best idea? No, you should try to find something that talks about your experience. So I'm going to bring it back. All right. Let's say instead of working at a store, I did something simple like volunteering or, I was a babysitter. Let's make one of each of those. So the location, well, that's a little difficult to describe, or for like the name of the employer. So we can say babysitting, comma. Let's say that we did this in Cragsmore, New York, another local town to us. And where it says cashier, well, we already have the title on here, so we can make that logical decision. I want to remove that. All right. I'm going to keep the dates the same, except for August 2020, I'm going to say to present, right? I'm still currently doing it. Now, if we're babysitting, we're not operating a cash register, we're not interacting with customers, we're not cleaning the store. But we need some ways that we can kind of go in and explain what did we do? Why did we have this job? So, watched younger children for parents. Now, we also want to find some stretches on how we can talk about ourselves in a more positive way. Helped children with homework, provided a safe environment for children, helped cook and prepare meals for children. See how I took the idea of just babysitting and expanded upon all the different things that we do. Someone's going to look at this and say, whoa, first off, that person is a rock star babysitter, but also, this person seems pretty responsible to me, somebody who I can trust to actually complete a job. All right, so let's say we also want to do one more thing, because not only do we babysit, we also volunteer. All right, so let's say volunteer. Let's say this was done in Ellenville, New York. And we can talk about space dash space. Let's say Blueberry Festival. And we can go in and put in the date. Now let's say this was just a single weekend. We don't have to put it on a dash like this. We can say event weekend in July 2020. All right, so this still talks about exactly what we're doing. And it says that we worked the whole weekend. So let's make it happen. Oops, let me undo that. Let's just erase all of that. I like these bullet points. They're really helping us kind of list our responsibilities. Collected tickets for raffle. Sold promotional shirts for festival. Helped vendors set up their booth. See how, again, we're talking about all the different things that we've done. All right. Now, let's say that there's one last thing we want to brag about, because we are awesome. So I'm going to copy that all again and paste it in again. All right. Let's say that I am snow shoveling for my neighbors. All right. Again, I can get rid of that. So snow shoveling. Winters 2017 through 2021. And we're going to add in some more things that we have done as, a responsible snow shoveler. This may even be our own business, but look how I'm turning this into a really, really useful thing. Went to neighbors to offer to clean snow from driveway. Cleaned sidewalks. Helped clean off cars for neighbors. Even though this is a business that we're making money doing, If you can talk about this, you're again just kind of introducing the idea of like, hey, look, I can do things with responsibility. I may not have the perfect, experience that everyone expects me to have, 5 years working with this company and all this different stuff, but we can put in whatever we want to make our resume really help us stand out. All right. Now, also, something to notice is I kind of did this in chronological order. So whichever job was our most recent should always be at the top, right? We brag about the things that happened most recently. Then we had a single event that happened in July, and then we have this item. So maybe I need to cut this, and I need to put it here, right? We can reorganize these and reorder them. All right. Now, we are starting to run out of space. Now that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's say I wanted to save some space here. I'm going to get rid of this most old item, especially because it was just a weekend. Still a good thing to do, but, we want to make sure that we can make it work and make our resume appear to be fully filled out. We don't want to ignore any of these sections if we have things to say. All right, and that gave us just enough space to hopefully fill in all these details. So now, let's look at our education. Well, we're going to fill that out. Ellenville, oop, there's a typo. We don't want to make typos on this either. If we do, that's okay. We just need to proofread it. Ellenville High School, Ellenville, New York, and then our degree. Well, we're just going to put in HS diploma. Now, we might not have graduated yet. Chances are we haven't, but let's fill in these details as best as we can. So we started, let's say, in September 2019, and we can put it to present. We don't have to put in the location here, but I'm going to get a little sneaky and put in something a little bit more kind of like reflective. Expected date of graduation. Let's say it's June 2023, right? 19 to 20, 20 to 21, 21 to 22, 22 to 23. So that's when we're going to be graduating. Notice how I placed this in here? It helps them understand exactly where we are in our high school career. All right. Now, there's a bunch of text here that they're suggesting that we type in. We could do that. We could get a little fancy. Exemplary coursework. Anything that helps you stand out as an individual. Did you take an honors course? Did you take some courses that you look at and say like, oh wow, that's a course that not everybody else in the world gets to take? How about TV and radio, right? That is something that really stands out because you understand how to work with video and radio and communications and things like that. Let's say we also took an introduction to programming course. And let's say we also took ceramics. These are all three courses that look great. Let's add one more. Let's add college algebra. Let's say that was a course that we are taking. All of these things really help us shine and flourish. All right. Now, we're on the next part, skills. Skills are super important as well. What kind of skills do you have? If you say video games, you're not going to be taken very seriously. And honestly, if you say I'm really good at video games and that's the only thing that's worth bragging about, they might be a little concerned about your dedication to come in. Or, will you be playing video games on your phone? Lots of things that can kind of get in the way of that. So instead, we want to talk about things that we have done or that we know how to do. If you know how to do specific types of skills, let's say you are good at cooking. What else can we talk about? Think about all of your courses. How about TV and radio? Well, if you have Final Cut video editing, that's a great program to talk about if you use that program. Audio editing, setting up microphones. Introduction to programming, so we can say Python programming. That's a type of language, in case you're not sure what that is. Clay and ceramics creation. That's a great thing. And if there's anything else that you know that you are good at, let's say that we had the snow shoveling. Let's say that we used a snowblower, right? Using a snowblower. That just says that you kind of have some experience with how to use it. All right. So we're going to leave it at that as our set number of skills. If you can think of anything else, put them in. It's just a nice way to kind of talk about yourself and say, hey, these are some skills that I know how to do. All right. Maybe you know one more. Let's say that you learned in a course, how about web design? Why not? Let's toss that in if you know how to create a website. And on this last section, we have a little bit of area to do just a tiny bit more bragging. Have you received any awards in your life? How about perfect attendance, freshman year, Ellenville High School? If you have any other types of awards, honor roll. You can say freshman and sophomore year. And if you did some honor roll, that's okay too. These are just awards that you've received that you're okay and happy to speak about. Maybe you don't have any awards or you haven't achieved any of them yet. That's fine. You can just go in and erase it and get rid of all that extra stuff. All right, so let's kind of zoom out on this and see what we've built and designed so far. I know it's a little bit small, but if we look through it, we can kind of see like, all right, this is their contact information. That's their name. We have an objective for them. That looks good. All right, now we're on to the experience section. They were a babysitter, okay, for Craigsmore, New York. You can even put in the Smith family or whatever the last name is if you want to include that information. Maybe they know them and they could be like, oh, I know who they are. Let me give them a call to see how trustworthy and reliable this employee is. And all of a sudden, my goodness, do you have a reference and they have a guaranteed safety that you will be a good employee. All right. So February 2020 to present. All right, so they've been doing that for a while and they're still doing it. Neat. This also tells the employer like, they're still keeping active. So I need to give a good reason for them to come work for me. Maybe good hours, or maybe I can try to plan around it, or maybe I just need to offer them more money since they're such a good and solid recommendation for this. All right, those are all their responsibilities. Cool, they did all those things. That's great. It looks like they're a great role model and they will be a great employee at my company. All right, snow shoveling. Cool, they did some snow shoveling. All right, they're always doing it during the winter. Awesome, this person sounds motivated. They went to the neighbors to offer clean snow from driveway. Oh, cool. So if they went to their neighbors, they know how to talk to people. All right. They cleaned sidewalks. That means that they don't just shovel the driveway. They also paid attention to detail. I love it. And helped clean off cars for neighbors. And let's add one more, because if we look back at our skills, using a snowblower. So let's add that. Used snowblower to clean large amounts of snow. We might as well brag at every opportunity that we can. All right, so there's their experience. I already like this person, right? They have good information. They have, it's easy to read. I can figure out who they are in a matter of minutes, all that different stuff, okay? Let's go down to their education. All right, they're at the Ellenville High School. Cool, so they're a local student. They're going after their high school diploma. They started in September 2019 as a freshman. Cool. And they're expected to graduate on time, or, at least they have their expected date of graduation. This person looks forward in time and plans out their future. I need this person as an employee. All right. Oh, they even have some extra coursework that they've added. TV and radio. Oh, that's pretty cool. Don't they make like commercials and put stuff on the radio? Maybe that would be a cool thing to pick their brain. Introduction to programming. Oh, cool. They know some like modern day technology stuff. Ceramics, oh, they have a creative side and an artistic side. They probably know how to do some cool stuff with that as well. And college algebra, oh, cool. They're even taking a high-end course in algebra. And again, we're just going to go in and brag and add an extra thing. Let's say that you're also taking tech and math innovations. It's another great course. And oh, cool, they're taking this course. I'm not sure what that is, but that sounds exciting. Maybe I will ask them what that is during the interview. And that opens up a whole other door of opportunity for you to basically like talk and brag more about yourself. All right. And let's review over their skills. They can cook. All right, that's awesome. They can do video editing. That's really cool. Audio editing. Awesome again. Setting up microphones. Oh, so they've probably done that for that TV and radio show. Okay. So not only are they just taking these courses, but they're also gaining skills from them. They're actually building up their talents. Good. Python programming, not sure what that is. That's another cool question to ask during the interview. Clay and ceramics creation, hey, there's their creative side shining. And using a snowblower, oh, because I remember they did the snow shoveling. All right, cool. And also web design. You know, our business might need a website. Maybe I need to work with this person to see what they can figure out and what they can decide to do. All right. Now notice how the resume goes to just about one page. You do not want to go further than one page. It's not like in your English class when your teacher says 2 pages and you get one sentence on the second page and you're like, I'm good. All right, your resume should be 1 page, especially in high school. Now, let's say you wanted to add something else onto this. So let me get rid of a couple of these extra comments that I use to kind of fill out our resume. I know we can't just delete things, but you might have to like reduce some things as you go through. All right, so right down here, we're going to go to heading 1, because that's what all these guys were. And we're going to say sports and clubs. Maybe you want to talk about all of your different sports and clubs that you're also in, because hey, if you're part of them, you might as well do them. So let's say we play varsity soccer. How about we are in the computer club, gaming club, and art club. All of a sudden, you're adding extra things on here. Now, if you're not an athlete, that's okay. We can get rid of that. And we can just put in clubs. Now, again, here's something that we should probably do. Take clubs. We're going to cut it so it's removed. And we're going to place it here because all of these clubs are related to school. So we can put that in under here. All right. A lot of us is just kind of playing around with this. You don't have to make this perfect. You don't have to make this the best darn resume that anyone has ever seen in the history of the world. But if you show up with a resume and no one else does, you just gain that advantage for taking like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to like piece together something that helps talk about who you are. So hopefully this was insightful. This has been a great way for many of my high school students to do superb when trying to find jobs. Because again, you show up with a resume that says that you're actually here for a professional business environment. All right, feel free to add comments on this video if you have any questions. Ask your teacher if you have questions. Ask me if I'm your teacher. And if you have any questions or need any type of help or anything like that, you know how to reach me. Have yourself a fantastic day, and thank you for joining me for creating this resume.